Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, coming to you live from Fresno, California, the scariest place on earth. And you know why, because everything is going on here in Fresno. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. Thank you for showing up tonight. Tonight we have a fantastic show for you. I can't wait. Been waiting for this day for a long time. And so has my co-host, Alan Thomas.
How are you all?
We've been looking forward to this day for quite a while, and now since this gentleman is waiting for the new season of his show to start, we grabbed him, perfect timing, and we are going to talk him to death tonight, and we're going to have a great time doing it, because you guys all know that we live for this stuff, and we're going to talk about what he does on his show, and ruins, and the settlers here of America. I mean, it's going to be awesome. You guys know why, actually, the reason why we got him on the show tonight is because what we found here in Fresno, California, where people are still saying it's something totally different, but I think we know different. And we're going to show him some photographs tonight. And you guys are probably going, who? What are you talking about? Well, you guys know who I'm talking about. Scott Wolter of the hit TV show American Unearthed on H2 channel. For you guys who have been watching this show for a long time, when this show first aired and my wife and I sat down and watched it, I went, oh my God, this is going to be a hit. And you guys all know I've been pushing this show since the very beginning. Not trying to kiss his butt or anything like that, Scott. But I have, because I know this show is going to go, you're going to be going at least 5 more seasons if you can find that many more, ancient ruins out there. And I know you can, because there's 800 of them on the East Coast alone. So, all right, so here we go. All right, I can't wait. I woke up this morning with my stomach in knots, and I think Alan did too, because we have so many questions to ask this guy, and he's going to give us 90 minutes, and we might cut him down a little lower because I know he has to get up and go to work tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But
I was nervous this morning.
Scott's going, oh come on you guys, it's only me. But you know what, let me tell you something, Scott. I know you're listening up there in Minnesota. Hope you're not frozen, because I heard that you guys went to the Green Bay, Minnesota game today, so hopefully you're thawed out, and you got a nice cold hot refreshing beverage near you. So all right, tonight we have a cool guest. Scott Wolter of the hit show America Unearthed is going to be with us here in a couple minutes. And you guys all know when we found the ruins here in Fresno, and you guys are going, God, you need to call Scott. You need to call Scott now. You need to call Scott. And I'm going, yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. Hold on. Be cool. There's some things that we had to go through first. And I think we're at that point now that we need to move to the next step, and that is to get a professional opinion. Not saying that he's going to come down here and do a show or anything like that, but he hasn't not seen the ruins yet. So what we're going to do tonight, later on during the show or at the end of the show, hopefully he'll say, no, Jeff, show me those ruins now. But we're going to show it to him maybe at 3/4 of the way down of the show, and we're going to show him some pictures, and we're going to get his honest opinion, because people are saying one thing and it doesn't make sense to us. And I'll tell Scott later on when we get him on the phone about who I called, who saw these photographs, and who told me that, what, dude, they're giving you the wrong information. That's not what these things are. And that's from an archaeologist. So, but this time, we're going to get somebody who is into this stuff and has been for the first season of American Unearthed, and I can't wait. So, you know what? I'm just going to go and call him now, because we need to basically get him on the air.
We are going to talk about the Kensington Rune Stone.
Oh, yeah, duh.
I'm looking forward to that, man. Checking it out. I watched, he was on last night on History 2 channel, and in fact they were talking about that stone, and then one of the ones that he found in the water, one of the lakes up there.
It's gone.
Yeah, and somebody stole it.
It's gone. I wonder who took it. So, all right.
No, they needed some kind of tow truck or something to get it out of there.
I'll try something else bigger than that, I think. So.
Well, it was a heavy stone, and then it looks like they had to drag it out of the lake, and then somehow pick it up. And I know they can do it because when I had my ranch in the foothills, we sold some rocks for people's landscaping, and it was a good way to make money. And the whole side of my hill was nothing but rocks, big old granite rocks, and I actually had some copper mines on the ranch.
We're gonna go ahead and.
Did he say hello yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, man, I'm nervous.
The history that we were all taught growing up is wrong. My name is Scott Wolter, and I'm a forensic geologist. There's a hidden history in this country that nobody knows about. There are pyramids here, chambers, tombs, inscriptions. They're all over this country. We're going to investigate these artifacts and sites, and we're going to get to the truth.
Mr. Scott Wolter?
Sometimes history isn't what we've been told.
Mr. Jeffrey?
Oh, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and my co-host Alan Thomas is here as well.
Hi, Scott.
Alan Thomas, how you doing, Alan?
Really good, man.
Man, we are so excited that we have you on. It's not even funny, dude.
Great, I love it.
We are big fans of yours. I don't even know where to even begin. When your show first aired, my wife and I were sitting on the couch and we said, "Oh my God, this is totally something that we have never seen on TV." And what I mean by that is a show that is actually giving us evidence right in front of our faces.
And the truth too.
You know what I'm saying? No more.
Yeah.
No more chasing UFOs and no more trying to find something. You know what? You already found these things, and now it's time to step it up and find out what are they doing here and where do we go from here. So, I can't wait. So many questions, Scott. You know what? I know you've done a lot of interviews in the past, and people write questions down on a piece of paper and they start going from question 1, question 2, question 3. I don't want to do that interview like that. I want to do the interview like for 3 of us having a beer on the couch in the family room and just talking shop.
Well, hold on, I'll go get one.
Go get one. I'm waiting. No, seriously, go get one.
My coffee.
I appreciate what you're saying, and look, that's kind of the way I operate all the time. So let her fly, guys.
All right, awesome. Well, for all those people who have not seen your show, you can get off the line right now. No, just kidding. I've been pushing this show, Scott, and I'm not just trying to kiss butt. All right, I've been pushing this show since the very beginning, and on demand. We have it on Comcast. When there's nothing on TV, we go seriously on demand and we watch the shows over again. That's how good they are. And again, this is something that I haven't seen on TV as of yet. And except for Ancient Aliens, but this is way different.
Well, there's some people that are listening right now. I don't know if they even watch the show, so you might even tell us a little bit about it. And
well,
you want me to tell you about it?
Well, I tell you what. First of all, you're a forensic geologist. Now, tell everybody what the heck that is.
Yeah.
Well, for the past 30 years, almost 30 years, I guess, I've been running a materials forensic laboratory. I did that for 4.5 years at a company called Twin City Testing, and then I've been doing it since 1990 at a company I started with some other guys called American Petrographic Services, American Engineering and Testing. And basically what I do is essentially autopsies on concrete and rock, and we don't get involved unless something goes wrong. And they'll hire us to try to figure out why did the concrete have low strength, why did it fail, why did it crack, why did it peel, why did it scale. Sometimes we look at fire damage, all kinds of things. But we don't get involved unless something happens. And typically what they want to know is what happened and whose fault is it.
Wow.
And so what we do is we collect samples from the problem concrete or stone, rock, whatever it is, and we do our forensic examination. And the interesting thing about it is that, you know, I always say to people, concrete doesn't crack just to piss you off. It does it for a reason. And if we do our analysis right, we have a good representative sample, we'll figure it out, because there's always a reason why these failures happen. And sometimes we have to give our customers bad news. But the data's the data, the results are the results, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. And all we've done is take those investigative methods and techniques, primarily using microscopes in my case, and apply it to these historical mysteries that you know, typically involve rock of some kind, whether it's an inscription, a petroglyph, a man-made you know, work stone in a structure, something like that. But really, you can take those investigative techniques, that forensic work, and you can apply it to just about any problem. And that's what we're doing.
Awesome. Now, you're in Minnesota.
Yes.
What, I mean, did the production company out in Minnesota, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, how convenient is that?
Well, it was really serendipitous the way it happened. You know, Andy and Marie Oz, who are the owners of Committee Films, were really just getting started at about the time I was sort of really gaining steam with my research on the Kensington Rune Stone, which is where everything started for me.
Right.
And actually, Maria was an investigative reporter with a local television company, WCCO-TV, and she came to interview me for a story about a murder case that we worked on. And when she walked into my office, she saw a poster of the runestone that I got when I was over in Sweden on one of my 5 trips doing research. And she said, "Oh, did you do some work on the runestone?" I said, "Sit down, this is going to take a while." And next thing I know, she went home and told her husband, who was an editor for a long time and then was starting this new production company. And she said, "You got to go meet this guy and hear his lecture." So Andy came, heard the lecture, and he said, "Hey, we could do a great documentary on this." And that became Holy Grail in America. I don't know if you've seen that.
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah, but it did really well. The History Channel was very pleased, and that led to another documentary called Who Really Discovered America. And eventually they said, "Is there more stuff like this out there?" And I just laughed and said, "Are you kidding me? Enough to do a series?" And obviously the answer was yes.
Oh man, I mean, you're talking 800, ruins on the East Coast alone. Hello, you got about 20 years of stuff here. I mean, and that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we looked at every one, I mean, I think a lot of those chambers, the stone chambers on the East Coast, are likely related, or there is some relation to them, and there's a whole, like you said, probably 800 mysterious structures out there. What I don't understand is why is it that nobody has taken an interest in these before and really, buckled down. I'm talking about the archaeologists, the historians. I mean, these things are incredible. Why didn't they study them before? Why is it?
It almost seems like
this long?
It almost seems like they want to ignore it even. like when you present something to them, they sit there with this little smirk on their face, like they know where you're going with it, and it's all just a bunch of
right now. Right now, to me, archaeologists are like you're their worst nightmare right now.
Yeah.
Well, well, let's put it this way: we got to be careful what we say, guys.
Oh.
I agree with what you say, but what I mean by being careful is we need to use a qualifier, and we need to say some archaeologists
gotcha.
I'm their worst nightmare, because that's absolutely true. However, I have to say, over the course of the last couple of years, I have worked with some pretty amazing, open-minded archaeologists that have really taken a lot of this stuff seriously. Unfortunately, they're in the minority, as far as I can tell, and we need to change that, because
Yes.
if you think about it, the public looks upon these people as being honest and forthright and doing their jobs to the best of their ability, and a lot of them are not doing that.
That's right.
And that needs to change.
And that's and I'm hoping that with your show, it's going to open some eyes, and I think it is opening some eyes. Because there are people who watch our show and who I told them to watch your show, and they're freaking out because they've never heard of these chambers and these rock piles and these ruins anywhere in the United States, and they're totally freaking out, and they're wondering how come we're not seeing this stuff in the media or any place.
Well, that's really that's really a good point, because I say the same thing. I mean, let me give you an example. I don't know if you saw the episode on the Tucson lead artifacts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, those things were absolutely pristine and perfect as far as their discovery, and as far as the way that they were dug out. You couldn't have done it more, in a better way, in a more proper way. In fact, the University of Arizona controlled the dig and found 5 of the artifacts themselves. They're absolutely 100% genuine. They date back to the 8th and 9th century. They should be on the front page of every newspaper. I mean, this is a huge discovery, and I can't believe that people aren't talking about. Why isn't the mainstream media all over this? I just don't understand it.
Well, I think there's way more that they're hiding, and I don't know. I've heard you a couple of times say conspiracy theorist. Because I think that's where this is going. And
you said it, so I'll jump on it.
All right.
And I do think that there is some aspect of a conspiracy going on here, and I think there's a couple of things that are going on. This is just my take, and until somebody can prove to me this is not going on, it's on the table. One is, I think we're still suffering from what I call the post-manifest destiny mentality, and that was when we made the great land grab for our country, what is now the United States of America. There were a couple of things that were in place. We basically committed genocide against the natives, broke every treaty we ever made with them, every deal we ever made, on one of the grounds that these savages weren't Christian, and we still suffer from that. I think we were programmed that these people were somehow subhuman, and I still think we're still suffering the lingering effects of that, because if you think about it, what would happen if during that whole time period, if the United States government came forward and said, oh, gee, we have been finding artifacts and sites that clearly show that there were cultures that were here prior to Chris, and, what is that going to do for the land grab and manifest destiny? I mean, we took care of the natives that were already here, and so to have these other things show up would have been a big problem. So the simplest thing, in my mind, would be to just make them go away.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's start off by, you were not involved in any of this. What got you going was in the year 2000, I believe, when they called you in to basically bring you in to figure out the Kensington Stone. As far as what it was, you had no idea what the rock was, or the stone was, until you got it and you started to look at it.
Well, Well, yeah, no, I didn't buy it. It was brought into my lab.
Right.
I was basically hired to do an examination on it. And you're right, I had never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. I'm a little bit embarrassed because I spent most of my life in Minnesota growing up, not my entire life, but I never heard of it. I just tell people I must have missed school that day or something. I don't know why, but yeah, and so I did the work, and I warned him ahead of time. I said, look, you may not like the results I'm going to give you, but you're still going to pay me, you know. That's the beautiful thing about the work I do. I'm an independent laboratory. It doesn't matter what the results are. I get paid either way. It's a beautiful thing, really.
Well, you know what? You were saying that you never heard of the stone. Well, maybe there's a reason why you never heard of it, because they were trying to keep it, quiet.
Well, that's what I like
part of it,
about.
I think. I mean, it wasn't, something that was taught in school. At least not where I went to school. No. But of all these, historical, mysterious stones that we have in this country, arguably, I'd say the Kensington Rune Stone is the most well known. But even then, I never heard of it.
Wow.
So, and then when I did the analysis, and I did a tombstone study, I consulted with a number of, geology professors that I had and local geologists at the University of Minnesota. I went to UMD up in Duluth, and my work was peer-reviewed. Many people claim it wasn't, and that's nonsense. It was peer-reviewed, and it's old. I mean, the inscription is old, and when I came out with these results, I thought that the archaeologists would be happy. I remember thinking to myself, well, they got one, good for them. And oh my gosh, I just got blasted, and I didn't really understand why. I was confused at first, and then I got pissed, and I just said, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and I think I understand the problem now, but back then I didn't know, and I had never been challenged before, because I never write a report or state an opinion unless I feel that I have the evidence to support it. And being a licensed geologist in the state of Minnesota, if I do something stupid or unethical, I could lose my job.
Sure.
I could potentially go to jail. And so when people are saying I'm full of crap or whatever, I'm like, all right, well, let's sit down and talk about it, Gunner. Let's show me your evidence. Right. I mean, everybody can have an opinion, but it's not about opinion; it's about evidence.
Now, when you did your analysis of the stone, there was a date on there, 1362.
Yeah. There's actually two dates on the stone.
Oh.
Well, there's the same date twice. 1362 in pentatic numbers in Arabic placement that everybody knows about. But the same date is also embedded within the inscription using a simple code, using the medieval Easter table dating practice that was in play back in the 14th century. So it's there twice.
Wow. So that I didn't I didn't listen that hard on that one. I missed that one.
I don't think I said anything in the show about that.
Oh, shoot. Well,
that's in my books, and it's on the stone. It's pretty clear and pretty obvious. And of course, if the runestone's a land claim, as I believe it is, and that's what it says, acquisition business or taking up land, encoding the date to protect the date that everybody knows about from alteration would make a lot of sense. And the people that I know carved it, that's exactly what they would do.
How far back does this like how long and how spread out over the United States were they, around here, do you think?
You mean, are there other mysterious stones and sites?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the people that actually left the evidence behind. How
you're talking about the runestone, or these? We had a lot of cultures that came here over a long period of time. It wasn't just the medieval guys that were here. I mean, the Vikings were here, the Welsh were here, the Jews were here a number of times.
So really, we're not really.
The Chinese were probably here. There's all kinds of people who are coming and going all around the world. This is nothing unique going on here.
Right.
So it wasn't a surprise. We weren't. What do you call it? The secret, and all of a sudden somebody discovered us. It was like everybody knew we were here all the time, anyways.
That's right.
So,
well, how could you discover something that's populated with hundreds of thousands, if not maybe 1 or 2 million people. I mean, the natives were here for crying out loud. What are we talking about?
Okay, now you've written several books. Obviously, the Hooked X, and then I'm probably going to kill the pronunciation. The Akhenaten. Now we're talking Egyptian, right?
Yep.
And that's why I want to definitely talk about that with the Hooked X and King Tut and all that. So. And also a couple of them Lake Superior as well, because I mean you're into rocks, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I've written 9 books altogether, and they're all related to rocks in one way or another. I've done some things with concrete, Superior agates, and
my wife's
the Hooked X.
Yeah, my wife's gonna love you. She's a school teacher and she's into rocks and oh man. So, all right.
Well, get her some agate books.
Damn straight. Okay. All right. The Hooked X. When you obviously pretty much told them, you know what, this thing is real, and you basically told yourself, you know what's going on? You started doing a lot of research, and you tried to figure out and decipher what was on there, and then the Hooked X. How did you figure out about the Hooked X? I mean,
well, yeah, you got it right. I mean, the other thing I think that people don't think about in the type of work that I do, and anybody who does forensic work of any kind. Whether it's looking at a dead body or looking at a rock, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Or investigating a car accident or a murder case. It's all forensic work. It all boils down to simple logic, and it really makes the investigation flow, and it really makes it easier. And what I mean by that is, once I determined that the inscription was old, I really only had 2 choices. Either it was a modern hoax, as everybody claimed, or if it's not that, then what else can it be?
Right.
It must be real,
right? Must be real, right.
So really, you've only got 2 things. And the other part, the other thing that people don't think about and don't understand is that if it's real, or if it's not real, but in this case, it's real, and we have voluminous evidence in multiple disciplines that all are consistent with authenticity. That's how I know it's real. On the other hand, if that's true, then how can there possibly be evidence to support the contrary? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It can't exist. So when people sit there and tell me that the runestone's fake, the first question I say is, well, we're happy for you. Thanks for your opinion. Where's the evidence to support it? And when they start to think about it and break it down, there is no evidence that it's a hoax. There is not one single piece of factual evidence to support that it's a hoax, because it's not a hoax. So that's the way we do our forensic work. Now, once you say that it's real, then there's a whole bunch of things that must be true based on logic. Okay? And what I mean by that is, okay, first of all, I don't want to hear another person tell me, well, they couldn't have got all the way to Minnesota. Time out, Gunner. The stone is here, okay? They got here, obviously, okay? So that question's answered. The question is, how did they get here? What route did they get here? Why did they come here? And where did they come from? Those are all the speculation stuff that we're trying to find the evidence for now. But, it was carved by somebody. They came from someplace, and they came here for some reason. So there has to be answers to all of those questions. It all has to fit into a cohesive story that makes sense. Otherwise, you don't have it figured out yet. And I have to say, if you look at it, everything that we have laid out in our books, it all fits. And it points in one direction to one group, and that includes everything that's in the inscription. If it's real, everything in there has to exist somewhere.
Exactly.
That includes the Hooked X.
Right.
It's amazing that they got that.
But the problem is, if you call it a hoax and you don't go looking for it, how are you going to find the evidence? That's what happened.
See, and
nobody looked.
Right, and we are right there with you, because we just don't do a radio show here or a TV show. We are investigators into the paranormal, all right? And I don't know if you believe in this or not, but that's okay. we investigate everything, and we're talking, Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts. I mean, we do all that.
And the ancient stuff.
And we are out there in the field. I'm climbing trees, putting up cameras. We are spending the night, up in the mountains, the Sierras, 6,000 feet elevation. We are out there.
You're doing things.
Yes, and we're not like these other guys who are sitting behind the frickin' microphone and do all their stuff on the computer. That's not us, and it ticks me off when we go up and we find stuff, and they say, "Well, it's not real." What do you mean it's not real? We just found a freaking 13-inch footprint, 7,000 foot elevation in the snow. Who in their right mind is going to be up here, barefoot? But and what I'm trying to get at,
I totally hear where you're coming from, and I appreciate and I respect the fact that you do get out from behind your desk. And instead of just sitting there telling us what you think, you're out there, getting your feet dirty and trying to find things. And that's what I'm all about, because I guarantee you, when I've gone on my trips, when I went over to Sweden, or I go to Scotland or England or France or wherever the hell I'm going to look for something, you have a plan in mind. I mean, when you guys go out, you know what you want to do. And I do the same thing. But you know what happens every time to me, and I guarantee it happens to you too? Just by getting your butt over there or out in the field, the way you thought it was going to go always ends up going different. And usually, at least for me, what I find is I'm hoping I'll find this, and I end up finding that, and it's way better than I ever could have dreamed.
It always
and
is way
it never
better.
would have happened if I hadn't got off my rear end and went over there.
Exactly. And, we're always finding stuff, Scott. I mean, we're bringing home freaking evidence on film or on video or on audio, and people are telling us, you guys hoaxed it.
Yeah.
How in the hell are you getting all this freaking evidence? And I'm saying, well, because we're getting our freaking butts out and doing our jobs. So shut up, shut up.
I couldn't agree more. And by the way, just to answer your question about the paranormal stuff, I honestly don't have an opinion at all. I'm a blank slate because I haven't had any information to evaluate. So I don't have an opinion. I'm open-minded to anything. I haven't seen any evidence to support Bigfoot yet. So
right.
I really don't have much to say about it. But if someone shows me the evidence, giddy up. Let's go.
Right on. So that means we're going to have to bring you up camping with us then.
Sounds good.
Trust me. You want us to scare the crap out of you, Scott? Then you need to come with us.
Yeah. It's
well,
scary.
you know what? They're actually talking about maybe doing something on a Bigfoot at some point. I'm not as that's lower on my priority list because there's some things that I know we'll see for sure. And maybe we'll do it. Maybe we won't. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, if you guys do it, you make sure you call me because
what? Kind of along the lines of the Bigfoot is the giants.
Oh,
okay? And they're finding them everywhere, right? All over the place.
Oh yeah. Well, you're talking about ancient giants, right?
Right.
Yeah, and they're finding them in mounds and stuff around the United States everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, I have yet to see the evidence myself, but I've heard way too much. I've seen research-wise, I've read an awful lot about them. I've talked to a lot of Native American elders who, in their oral stories and their oral traditions, just about every Native culture has stories about giants. And there's just too much out there. There's too much smoke for there not to be some fire someplace.
Absolutely.
And so I think you're going to see us revisit that topic at some point.
There's a place, I can't remember where it is. We were in Oklahoma a little while, a few months ago. And there's a place you could actually go. The giants they're still in the same spot, but they dug in there. And you can actually go in there and look at them.
There are a couple museums that supposedly have large skulls as well. And like I say, if we go down that road again, I think we're going to. I'm not totally sure, but I think so. That's what I want to see, and I think they're out there. I think there are some.
I can't wait to see that show.
Yeah.
That'll be right down my alley.
Right on. All right. Okay. Well, let's continue on the Hooked X theory. The one group that stays in my mind is the Knights Templar. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That, I mean, because, we are into the Bible here. We talk about the Bible. We talk about Jesus, the Holy Grail, what happened to it, the whole 9 yards. Okay.
Right.
And I think that's where you're going with this as well, aren't you?
Well, I'm not really sure how to answer that, because I think what people tend to think is that, I have this idea and I'm trying to prove it. And that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm following the evidence.
Follow the evidence.
Right.
And I go where the evidence takes me, and that's that's totally different. And I've been very critical of people out there who, they develop an idea and they go looking for evidence to support it. Well, that's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. It sure as heck isn't the scientific method. And so what I mean by that, related to the Templars, the Grail, and the bloodline and all of that, is that I've just followed the evidence where it led. I mean, it started with the Rune Stone. It was real. That means the language and everything in it has to be real. So I went over to Sweden. We found all the stuff they said didn't exist. And the bulk of it was on an island in the middle of the Baltic Sea called Gotland. Well, the other thing that we knew was that in medieval times, the only people that were capable, that had the knowledge to carve an inscription of that complexity and length, would have been a member of the clergy, because the common people weren't educated. Well, the only clergy that you have on Gotland are the Cistercians. Well, who are they? Oh, these guys were founded back in 1098, and they were the ones who created the Knights Templar Order. Oh, well, let's take a look at that. Oh, this is interesting. Back in 1113, 30 family members joined the Cistercian Order and the Templar Orders and basically hijacked the order and took it to extreme success. They became the most successful medieval monastic order in history. And what people don't know or understand is that the Templars were Cistercians. They just served a different function within the order. They had over 750 abbeys all across Europe, throughout the Mediterranean region, into Scandinavia. I mean, they were huge, and nobody knows about them. And it was those 30 family members were the bloodline descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. That is what my research shows. That's what other people's research shows. And so, in my opinion, the first crusade that was mounted and fought by the Knights Templar Order was basically a military mission to secure the perimeter of Jerusalem so they could go in under the Temple Mount and dig under there and get the stuff that they knew was there. They also went into the Telpiat tomb, I believe, and they took the bones of Jesus and Mary as insurance against the church. And it was a very effective ploy because, they were the only military order that was completely free to do whatever they want. The church just let them go. And I think that was part of the reason.
Where do you go, if we wanted to, find some of this and read some of this? I never heard of this, and then that's...
See, Alan is a big... I don't want to say, how do I rephrase this? He's really into the Bible, and what you are saying right now is blowing him away.
Right.
And so...
Well, here's the thing, guys. Let's just back up for a second.
Okay.
Before you can even have this discussion that I just brought up,
mm-hmm.
and I apologize I didn't say this earlier, but you have to define the rules, okay? If you're going to talk about faith and Jesus and God and all of that,
mm-hmm.
that's a different discussion. That's all good stuff. That's all wonderful. But if you're going to talk about the real history behind the hooked decks, the real history behind Jesus and Mary, I'm talking about real life, okay? You have to, that's a different discussion. And so you have to decide, and what I tell people is I say, look, if we're going to have this discussion, you have to take your faith, whichever faith it is, and put it off on the side for a minute, and we're going to talk about real life for a second, okay? And I just want people to understand, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to attack anybody's faith.
No.
I'm trying to figure this thing out.
Well,
right.
I'm like
and
you.
You cannot do it.
Oh.
You're going to sit there and talk about faith.
Exactly.
And people rising from the dead and virgin births and all of that stuff.
Well,
it
it's
didn't happen
follow the evidence
in the real world. Until I see the evidence, I'm not buying it. Okay?
Right, and that's what I...
You know what I mean.
Yeah,
You know
right? Big time. And trust me, he's not offended. I evidence, science, science. That's what it's all about, and
Exactly.
where it's leading you is telling us different. You can't say that it's not. I mean, it's not real. I mean, what you are finding is,
Well, I've come to how I believe just by like following the evidence, like what you're saying. And then like in our chat we have a guy in there, Randy. He says that that's another place where the archaeologists are covering things up or hiding things or being hidden. So another like conspiracy thing, so we don't even get all the facts. And I the idea of
he's right. Your chat person is absolutely right, because let me just talk frank with you guys for a second, okay?
Sure.
I mean, I'm not even going to waste my time trying to prove a conspiracy, because the conspiracy is going to prove itself.
That's for
I mean, the bottom line is this: is that part of the reason that and I don't even know who makes the call. Okay, who makes the call that the Rune Stone's real, and all of a sudden it's on the front page and it changes our history? Who makes that call? Is it Barack Obama? Is it some archaeologist? Is it the Pope? Is it me? Is it you? I mean, that's one question. But it's, I mean, look, when one of these, let's just say the Rune Stone for a second, gets accepted as being genuine, and I believe they will not allow that to happen. And the reason is, once you accept the Rune Stone,
then you have
dominoes start to fall.
Exactly. Then you have to continue where you went, and all the evidence.
They end up in Jerusalem.
Exactly, and that's where they don't want to go.
There.
Oh no!
They don't want to go.
I know where you're going with this, and that's awesome. Because they don't want to know the truth. Like I said, there is a big conspiracy to block all this from everybody. So you're never going to get them to come out and say that the Rune Stone is real.
No.
Okay.
You know what, guys?
What?
We are going to get them to come out, and I'll tell you why.
Sweet.
Well, that's what we're working
I'm
towards.
I'm serious about this. Okay. In my new book, Akhenaten to the Founding Fathers, I explain in layman's terms the history of religion, the history of basically our world for the last 4,000 years. It actually goes back much further than that, but it has to do with something called the precession of the equinoxes. And Akhenaten came into power at a very important time. Jesus came into power at a very important time. And a very important time just happened last year. Remember the end of the Mayan calendar, the end of the world?
Yep.
Remember all that BS?
Right.
Well, all it was the end of a very long cycle. Mm-hmm. And part of what happened is the reign of the Fisher King, Jesus, ended. And part of what I've been told by mystics and Native American prophecy keepers and Mayan prophecy keepers is that the new age has begun. The 26,000-year-long cycle has ended, and the new cycle has begun. And the world is going to change, and the world has to change, because I think if we all are honest and we look in the mirror, we know that the biggest problem we have on this planet right now is there's too many people. It's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. But we all know it's there. And I'm not talking about, killing people or reducing population. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about people being smart about reproduction. We have to do something. And we've got to change the way we're treating our planet.
Yeah.
And according to this long-range cycle, last December 21st is when that whole thing begins to turn around. And part of the turnaround comes with truth. Before we can go forward into the future intelligently, we have to know where we've been. We need to know the truth about where we've been. And it's not just about Jesus. It's about all the stuff. And that's what we're trying to talk about on our show. And if nothing else, guys, I'm totally serious when I say this. It's rare that you get an opportunity to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. And to have this opportunity to do this show, to reveal some of this truth, and to help make a positive change, I am thrilled and honored to death. And, And that's if we even change one little thing, then I feel like it's all been worth it.
You're a kid in a candy store, in a toy store. You are having a freaking blast on that show, and I can tell.
You are so right, man.
And I'm going to tell you right now. You know, when we watch a show, we actually came up with a list of the thing that Scott says. And and I actually have here, and you know, I see the passion in you and the way you speak on, and look at, check it out, bullshit, crap, holy shit, 4 times you said on that show. Damn it! What the hell? No, and the reason why I'm saying that is because it's your passion. You're for real.
Yep.
You follow me?
Person.
Well,
that
I do get a little fired up sometimes.
Exactly.
You gotta remember something. I'm an old football player, man. I played till I was 40 years old, tackle football, and man, when I was playing, man, you got to be lit up and you got to be ready to rock, or you're going to get your head knocked off.
You know, it would have been
the bottom line is when it's on, it's on.
And I would have, you know, if you would have said, "Gosh darn it," gee whiz, you know, then I would have, you know, I would have been told I wouldn't have you on my show. All right. But
no, we don't do that stuff. I'm not going to swear now, but
no, you are going to swear.
We're on the internet.
We're on the internet. You can hear. You can do whatever you freaking want.
Yeah, well, that's all right. No, I mean, you have to pick your spots. I mean, if you swear all the time, it loses its impact. But sometimes, when something happens, you know, you just get pissed off and you just let her fly. It just happens.
And the times you really lay out what you say is when you get blocked. You know,
well, yeah. I mean, what are they afraid of?
Yeah, well, they don't want you to go on this property, or they don't want you to see this. I'm sorry, you can't go.
Hiding something?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that
happens to us.
That happens to us all the freaking time.
Yes.
And you know, you know, in a little bit here, I want to show you some pictures, and I want to get your expertise, advice.
Are you on a laptop so that you could see, or a computer?
I'm not at the moment, but I can jump on right now.
Yeah, if you can, go ahead and get
just
on.
Make sure your sound is down, but only you'll be able to see what we're going to show. Some of these pictures, you'll love them.
I'm hoping so.
At least I think you'll love them.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say, you know what, you guys, that's not what you think it is, and so be it.
Yeah, and we'll go with it.
Well, you know, here's the other thing is I get the computer going here.
Okay.
You know, one of the other things that drives me crazy about these, and I want to use the word some academics, because some of them are great, and I've met some really cool guys in this upcoming season, especially in the season ender, which I can't tell you about, but I met a couple of academics that were the top in their field, and they were awesome. And they actually had me ready to, you know, go on a rant and rip on the academics. I said, I'm not going to rip on these guys. They're standing on either side of me. I said, these guys were great. They were cooperative. They were open-minded. They shared their stuff. And I said, I'm not going to rip on them. I'm going to talk about, you know, some of the other people, but not these guys. They were fantastic. So, you know, even though we get frustrated, you can't throw everybody into the same pot. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, some of them really want to come out and say things, but they're afraid. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
They could get attacked,
like
lose their livelihood.
Things are changing.
You know?
Awesome. Yeah. And you know what? When, you know, we've been doing this for a while now, Scott, and the reason why I wanted to start doing this, because I wanted to start for people to stop being afraid, because they're always afraid they're going to get ridiculed, laughed at, and you know, to this day we don't even know. Some of these people might have the video of all videos that are going to prove to us that Bigfoot exists, or photographs of whatever flying saucers, and they have them in their possession, but they're afraid to come out. And now, since we are doing this, you know, I have law enforcement, I have Department of Forestry, I have congressmen are coming and pulling me aside, and they're telling me what these guys are witnessing. And we're talking people with credibility, man, so you know there's something going on.
But we still can't say their name and stuff, you know.
There's a lot of things that we don't know about yet that have been covered up. And in some cases, you know, maybe they thought they were doing it for the right reasons at the time. But you know what I've learned is that sooner or later the truth bubbles to the surface.
Oh, it does.
It always does.
You know something
and
we like?
It will in these cases too, guys. We just got to keep pounding away here, and we'll get it.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm on your site here. Where do I go
now?
Paranormal
Central net, right? ParanormalCentral.net, right?
Let's see, live stream com Paranormal Central.
Just click on. Are you on? I don't even know where you're at right now.
Okay, I see the little icon with my picture.
Okay, and it's see where
Entertainment on Paranormal Central.
Okay, click on the one that says Live Now. Your picture with the Live Now.
I think both of them say it, but
okay. All right, so it says event started, 0 updates.
It should come up right now pretty quick. I'm hoping.
Yeah, you should see us come up in a chat, and there'll be a chat that you can chat in. You know, one of the things we like to do.
Started. Paranormal Central follow. What do I click on here?
Actually, your picture.
Click on your picture.
I'm clicking on it again.
If it doesn't work on one, there's actually 2 of them, and
okay, it says event started, and
if it doesn't work on one, do the other one, and the other one will work.
So you go back where there was did you see 2 pictures of you by any chance?
No, just one.
Oh, really?
Crap.
Let me do this. I'm going to go back to the email where you sent it to me originally. Here.
I think that's the one that doesn't work. One of the links broke on us, and we made a new one.
Shoot.
Do you guys have pictures? Do you want to just email them to me?
God, I wanted to get your impressions on live on the air.
Actually,
well, I mean, if you email them to me, I'll tell you what. I'll react right away.
In fact, while he's doing that, one of the we like to give away books and stuff like that, you know, to our followers. And when your book comes out, do you think we might be able to?
It's out.
Oh! I thought you were saying you had a new book coming out.
Yeah, I do. It just came out here about a month ago.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, we're going to get one and give it away.
Brand new.
Okay, how do I email that though to him?
Just like you do, you just open your email up and attach the
file.
Yeah,
and send it.
Okay.
You should have.
I'm using the actual. Okay, I hope that doesn't knock us off.
It shouldn't.
All right.
Shouldn't knock us off.
All right. Okay. All right. Well.
But you could still try to get in. Like I could tell you the exact. You go to new.livestream.com.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to go back here. Paranormal. Okay, newlivestream.com/Paranormal Central 1.
Yep. /events.
Oh, here's the second one. Live now. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the one.
All right, let's try that one.
And then you should see 2 funny-looking guys, you know, with a bunch of paranormal stuff all around behind them.
How about the guy in the phone booth?
Yeah.
All right, we're there. Okay. All right.
Well, now you'll be able to see what we have.
Go ahead and turn down the volume on that. On your laptop.
Hold on here. Let me do that.
Sweet. All right.
All right. Yep, that's the delay. Okay. So I see it sitting there. I see the UFO in the background. Okay, we're good.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
All right. Here we go. You tell me what you think.
Yeah. See, they all went crazy in the chat about the book. The book. We like to give away the books.
Okay. Now there's a delay. Tell me when you see it.
All right.
Yeah, it should be coming up.
All right. So you're doing computer screen.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got here. What the heck is that?
That's what we want to know. We've been told it's old.
Well,
Real
yeah.
old.
I mean, it does look old. Is that drywall masonry, or is there mortar in between the joints?
It might be mortar. I'm not sure. I'm not a geologist.
You know what I mean by drywall masonry?
No.
They just pack the stones and there's no binder.
Oh, I think that's how it is. I think.
I'm not sure.
Well, that looks pretty impressive. Where is that?
It's in Fresno.
California?
Yes, sir. Okay, and I'm going to show you some.
All you do is just hit the arrow button.
Oh, okay. Okay, here we go.
Hit the arrow button on the
next one.
keyboard.
Okay.
It's easier. You know what I mean? The
On the
little
keyboard?
arrows. See it right there? Yeah.
Okay. Here's another close-up there. I'm going to let you... Again, there's a delay.
That is really cool. That looks like I mean, that's pretty formidable. That's a massive structure.
Yes, it is. Now, okay, I'm going to go to the next one. It's not going.
Okay, that's mortar. There is mortar there. I can see the mortar joints in that one.
Okay. It's not going.
Although the stone looks to be dressed a little bit, they're using some rough stone in there too.
See, they're saying that they're telling us they made it for a copper mine in like what was it, around the 1800s or something. But the pictures we showed...
Well, they could have.
Now,
but if they made it for a copper mine, there should be plenty of areas there that archaeologists could, dig around and confirm or not confirm that.
Right. Now, when when we found this, I took a video and I called the archaeology.
Wow.
I took the archaeology department, called the archaeology department of Sacramento, and I got a guy on the phone. And while he was watching the video, he was watching this, and I said, okay. Then he said, where is this, Jeff? And I said, okay, northern Fresno. And I told him, he pretty much said, well, it wasn't Native American. He said it wasn't Civil War, because at first we thought maybe it might be, forts or something. He said, no, it's not that. And I said, okay, well, they were mining for gold up here. Would that be anything the gold rush would have made?
Why would they build a structure like that?
Exactly, that's what he said. So then he said, then he finally, after trying to figure out what it was, and he goes, you know what? That looks like Mayan type of stuff. And I'm going.
Actually, you know what? When I first saw it with that structure on top with the angled walls there, I mean, it'd be nice to walk around and take a look at that. But that was the first thing that came to my mind too.
Right, exactly.
And you're not the first one that said that.
Now check this out. Now there's a lot of stuff from this generation, and I mean, when I mean by that, I mean there's like cement, there is brick. But a lot of this stuff is still under tons and tons of dirt, and
it's in other words, it's buried.
Yes,
right.
It's buried. And the guy who lives here is giving us it's copper mined granite. There's a lot of
quartz,
a lot of quartz around, a lot of quartz. But still, why would they build this if they were mining for copper? It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Well, they look like they're way bigger. I mean, typically for copper mining, they would build structures for dwellings. They would build structures maybe for smelting, but this just seems like overkill, like way too much.
Like the arches that you're looking at right now. Why the arches? Like that's like ornate kind of thing.
Now there is.
You said this was in Fresno, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now there are, like I said, there are cement foundations. Like for example, the next picture it shows the 4 pylons in the back, but I think they built that. I don't know. See, we don't know. They're not giving us the straight answer on this.
Yeah, you can see.
Oh, I see the pylons.
The pylons. Yeah, they're made out of cement.
They look like monoliths.
Yeah, but they're and there's iron in it, rebar and stuff like that. But some of the stuff though that is still buried. I mean, man, we don't know.
Could these have been bunkers used maybe for military purposes?
No.
Yeah, they told us it wasn't.
No. And this area here is being monitored by the government. There's people in white vans and white cars always driving around. I mean, this is a long story, but we think there's something inside this hill where all this stuff is located on the outskirts. I found a cave entrance on the west side of this hill, and I mean the hole is only about a foot. I can barely just get my head in there with some cameras, and there are big rock square boulders that are in the entrance of these caves, and it's like, where did they get all this stuff from? There are no rock at all. It's like they brought all this stuff in. It just doesn't make sense to us.
To me, it is like who buried it, right?
And why?
I had a ranch only like maybe 15 miles away from this with 2 or 3 little copper mines on it, and I mean the road there is called Copper Avenue, so they were doing copper around there, but only why would they bury it? And it wasn't that long ago where the earth would have buried it all up, covered it completely in the amount of time of when they were digging for copper or mining for it, and today, you know what I mean? I mean, you'd have to intentionally cover it all up and then dig it back out again, like what they did.
Yeah. Now
that one wall here, that image you have up now. I don't know. That's huge.
Yes,
What
it
would
is
you build
and,
that for?
and that still goes underneath the mountain. It still continues buried around the mountain. Okay, now check this out. The next one here, it's, you know, like I said, there's metal, not metal, wrought iron. There's, you know, this guy is into, the guy who owns the property is into art.
Yeah.
So he places a lot of stuff everywhere, takes photographs and stuff. But that's what you see here. Now I'm pointing to you right here, and my arrow is going up and down. So you'll see it here pretty quick.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, it elevates out at about 6 inches, and then it continues going.
Well, you're still on his art, but here it'll move down. Okay, now it's moved down.
Yeah, now so you see where it protrudes outward.
Oh, there's like little indentations.
Yes,
yeah.
it comes
That's
out.
actually protruding out.
Steps up or steps
Yes,
down.
it steps out, and it goes, you know, that way. And it's like, you know, what would be the purpose of somebody doing that? It's for decoration.
It almost looks architectural.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But what was the purpose? I don't know.
You know.
I don't know. The site looks really interesting. I mean, my first guess is that it's, you know, probably it looks like it's more than likely within 150 years or so old. But that's just my first impression. I'm not, you know, I don't know that for sure. It could be a lot older. And I have no idea what it'd be used for. It looks to me like it could be military of some type.
Yeah.
But
they told me no.
That'd be my guess.
Right. Well, they told me no. It's not military.
Well, and it's not. It can't be too modern, because even back in the going back to the 20s and 30s, they would have placed concrete. They wouldn't have done stone and mortar construction like this.
Well, I think. And again, you know, you're the professional here. You know, there's I think a lot more still buried, and I think what the stuff, the cement pylons and the cement wall, you know, foundation is what they actually put up to. I don't know what they were.
That was added later. In other words.
Yeah, added later for a reason, and I don't know what that reason is. So.
Well, that's interesting, guys. I like it.
So there you go. I just wanted to throw this at you because, you know, we've known about this now for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, right around.
Yeah, and you know, the owner of the property is, you know, he's now a friend of ours, but he doesn't want any photographs, any video, or you know what I'm saying. And he's really picky about this site. And
this is on private land.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's on private land.
No, actually, fortunately, it's on private land. That's great. I mean, and I'd rather have a landowner be careful about his property and what he has on his you know, whatever site he might have, than just letting everyone come in. Because the problem is, I mean, I know a lot of people are curious and they love to go see these things, and 99% of the people that go are cool and they're respectful and you know, they treat it the right way. But all it takes is one donkey, and they ruin things, or they destroy things, or
actually
carve their initials in an inscription.
Right.
I mean, and it's happened. It's happened to us a couple times. I mean, the Narragansett stone got stolen.
I know.
Yeah, man.
What's up with
and that had a lot to do with us prowling around trying to get it preserved, taken out of the water and preserved. And
yeah, you show it on
can't
TV,
really talk
and
about
then
the details, but
Right.
It was. Let me just put it this way: it was a donkey who was an idiot.
Did they ever find it?
No.
But anyway, fortunately, we got it back.
Oh,
you did.
It ended well.
Wow, that's awesome.
cool.
That's awesome. So.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
But anyway, you guys know what I'm saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We got to protect these sites until we know what they are, and we need our country to acknowledge them. We need the academic community
And
to
tell the
stop
truth.
playing games and.
Really want you to just. Okay. Screen and.
And
Okay,
here we go.
Do you have the desktop now? You should be seeing my desktop on. Now, what I'm going to do is
Yep, I can see it.
All right, here we go. Okay, here's the video.
Mine's still initializing. You might wait a second.
All right. What do you see on the screen there, Scott?
I see. It says initializing live stream. Please wait.
Okay.
And okay, now I see it's live, and you just press the video.
Sweet.
There we go.
I see Google Earth here.
All right, here we go.
Here we
I'm
go.
going to forward that up to. Here we go.
All right. It was zooming in, and now it froze up.
Okay, here we go.
Mine froze up too.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow, they do not want us to show this. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, well, the server is in New York, and we're in California, and sometimes we have problems.
Okay, this is downtown Fresno, where the city hall is,
Yeah.
and just like
Is that an obelisk there? Are we going to see an obelisk?
Washington D.C. All that Freemason and just it's just freaky stuff here.
Okay. Is that an obelisk there in the center?
I am trying to. I don't know where you're at. Well, no, that's actually City Hall, the big white building on top.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a building that it'll go to later in the video.
Oh, I see. You're making a compass and square there, right?
Right.
Yeah, and a star and a 5-pointed star.
Yeah.
Now, also too, it's going to show you one of our buildings, very tall. I think it's the tallest one we have here in Fresno. There's a pyramid on top of this building, and it looks like the freaking national monument.
Obelisk.
Yeah,
It looks like an obelisk, what you're talking about.
and they'll show it right now.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm not surprised to see that at all. That's actually in almost every big city in town that you go to. Because, I mean, one of the theories that I have, and I talk about in my book, and there are other people that are aware of this. I mean, if you want to read some good stuff, read Bill Mann's book. His books, I should say. He has a new one that's coming out that piggybacks on some of the research that I've done, but I talk a lot about Bill's work in my book. But basically what he says is that the world was mapped thousands of years ago. And the Templars were following, one of the things that they got under the Temple Mount was this information about the mapping of the entire world. And so they, by using different navigation techniques, using the stars and other techniques, they were able to travel, to sail the seas and go all over the world. And they went to North America, certainly, went to South America, Central America. That's why they always had fresh silver all the time. People always wondered, why did they have fresh silver when all the silver mines had been depleted in Europe and the Mediterranean? But they laid out an ancient grid system across North America. And when the country was first settled and founded, most of the land surveyors and architects and city planners and builders were Freemasons. And they just picked up on that ancient knowledge, and they incorporated what they call sacred geometry into the United States, including the most obvious examples are in Washington, D.C.
Right.
But if you go to other cities, we have it here in the Twin Cities.
Wow.
I mean, we have the 45th parallel, north latitude, which is the optimal latitude for making astronomical observations, runs through the Twin Cities where I live here, and it's called Roselawn Avenue. Roseline.
Wow.
That's what they call the 45th parallel. And then 90 degrees from Roslyn Chapel, exactly 90 degrees from Roslyn, is Snelling Avenue that runs right through the Twin Cities and goes through Fort Snelling, which the Lakota Indians here called the center of the world, the most important place on the planet, where the Mississippi and the Minnesota rivers converge, and where those two streets meet in the Twin Cities, Snelling Avenue, the 90th parallel, it's 93rd parallel from Greenwich, but from Roslyn it's exactly a quarter turn on the Earth, and where Roselawn, where the latitude meets, there's a kind of a goofy little city that they just stuck down in the middle of St. Paul. You know what it's called?
No.
Roseville.
Oh, wow.
Look it up.
I will.
Nobody gets it. They're like, and Roseville's this tiny little town just stuck right in the middle of the city, and it's like it doesn't even belong there.
People need to open up their eyes. I tell everybody, it's things that are right in front of you. You just have to just clear your mind, and we have weird things all over the place, and they're sitting right in front of us, man. They are.
A lot of it has been engineered, like I said, by the Freemasons, and they have a saying. It's called "hidden in plain sight."
Yep.
And I talk about some of those secret messages. One of them is something that's in my new book. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's going to be in a future episode.
Oh, sweet.
But it's one of those things when you figure out what it is and you see it, you're going to see it everywhere, and you're going to freak.
Oh, dude. Oh, man.
You're gonna go, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Oh, God.
But there it is.
See,
I
see.
tripped out on your Exxon thing.
Oh,
and that one
no kidding.
with the two
Across
X's.
the Lorraine?
Yes.
Yeah, and then now I see that everywhere.
Was the symbol, the patron symbol of the First Crusade.
Right.
Do you remember
right.
I told you
Yeah.
who fought it was the bloodline family.
Right, and that and they're into the, they're the ones who create, the Knights Templar was the ones who created the banking system, and
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
that's why they've got the money.
Hey, look, you hit the nail on the head, man. It was all about the money.
Yep.
It is all about the money.
And they still have the money.
Hey, you know what? We almost forgot. We're gonna let you go here pretty quick, but there's one thing we didn't cover, and it's the Native Americans. Alan is part Cherokee. He's 1/4. His
Which Eastern Band or Western Band?
I'm the Eastern.
Well, I know the Eastern Band people very well. I know Chief Michael Hicks and the elders, a number of the various elders, Don Rose. I've spent a lot of time in Cherokee at the Museum of the Cherokee Indian, and they have been so supportive. It was because of the Eastern Band of Cherokee that I was able to do the Bat Creek Stone examination that I did, and we have an episode coming up, and you're going to love it.
Well, I hear that you got tight with them. See, like what I know, my wife is quarter also, and she's the one, they did the Trail of Tears.
Yep,
and then
that's the Western Band, yeah.
Yeah, and her grandpa has the paintings everywhere. Like when you go into the main office in Tahlequah, there's this huge painting on the wall. That's her grandpa. But now you can't get information from them usually if you just walk in and ask them. They're really closed people. That is the same out here with the tribes out here. You have to get to know them, gain their trust, and then usually it's the medicine man or the religious leader guys,
the prophecy keepers, the story keepers.
That's right.
And luckily for me, I have Alan here who can get us into a lot of the. I mean, we were invited for the Chile Reservation. We actually went where no white man has ever gone before, and it was so awesome. And Alan is because you were talking about in one of your episodes that how do these Native Americans get blue eyes and green eyes? Well, guess what? And beards and
right, exactly.
Well, something you bring up another obvious thing that nobody ever talks about, and I mean, this is logic. I used logic years ago. I said, well, if these cultures were coming over here, who the hell do you think they ran into?
Right.
Maybe the natives know something.
Oh,
and
they do.
I thought about that, and I said, well, I used a strategy, and you said it earlier. If you want to talk with these people, I did two things. The first is respect their culture and listen.
Oh man!
Well,
if you ever come out west,
it's like you said, if you gain their trust, they know if you're bullshitting them. I mean, come on. Anybody with a brain can figure that out, and they can sniff out crap faster than anybody. And all I told them was, I said, help me. I just want to get to the bottom of this. I'm getting stonewalled by people, and the Bat Creek came out of one of their mounds.
Oh,
and
that's right.
And the only way I was going to get it is if the Cherokee helped me, and they did. And the Smithsonian would not cooperate, and in fact, they turned down committee films the first time they asked to look at it, and then I said, just wait, let me try with the Cherokee, and then the Cherokee request came in. What's the Smithsonian going to say? And I could tell you some great stories off camera, guys, with the Cherokee. They have been so supportive and wonderful. I can't even begin to tell you. They've just been tremendous.
Well, if you have a show out west, I'm pretty tight with the tribes out here, and so you have a gateway to get in right away.
That would be wonderful.
It'll be something you don't have to break down.
You know what I want to do? Do you know who Sequoia was?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I want to do an episode on Sequoia because the picture of... Have you ever heard of the book, Tell Them They Lie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boy, I picked that book up. Actually, that was sent to me by one of my Cherokee friends. I started reading it on the plane during one of our shoots. I had it finished before I got home. I could not stop reading it. It was so riveting. And what I find interesting is that the portrait, the official portrait of Sequoia that's in the Smithsonian, that's not even him.
No kidding.
You know why?
No.
Because both Sequoia and his wife were branded on their foreheads. Their ears were cut off and their fingers were cut off because he was one and his wife was one who were teaching the natives the secret alphabet, the ancient alphabet. They were scribes.
Oh my gosh.
And the whites, the government cut off his fingers and his ears of both he and his wife, and they branded him on the forehead, and they didn't want the official portrait going in with a guy they butchered, so they used the picture of another guy. The guy's name was George Guess.
Yeah, and then you wonder who really was what did they call them? They called the Indians savages. Who really was the savages? You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Well, listen, it's no different than when you use words to demean people.
Right.
Like the N-word or bitch or, whore or something like that. I mean, that's what they did to Mary Magdalene, right?
Right.
And so it's the same thing we did to the natives. They were savages, and I mean, look at the movies that we grew up in. I mean, I'm in my 50s, and I can remember, and I didn't know anything about natives. I just thought, oh, look, they're just savages. They run around, they're barely clothed, they got tomahawks, and we've got guns. They must be savages, right?
Yeah, that's all they showed, too.
It was a brainwashing that we went through.
Yeah, it was.
Now we have several of the tribes that actually listen to us. They listen to our show every week, so you just probably scored some points.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, you know what? They're no different than anybody else. They're trying to get through life, and, they've been around for a hell of a long time, and they figured out how to live in balance with nature and, not over... use the resources, not to pollute, and to respect the land, respect everything. And that's what I was talking about, how we have to, get back in balance. And I say this all the time. I said, shit, we killed all the natives, but they had it figured out all the time. I mean, there's still time to fix that, I think, and it's never too late to right a wrong.
They actually have some sayings that I can't repeat them, but only along that lines where the white people came and screwed it up, really.
And
the women did all the work, and the men just
it's a fact. Okay? Well, look at the evidence.
Right, and also too, and what I was getting at is that the Native Americans have stories to tell, and they're waiting for people like yourself that is in line with them to tell the truth, that if you come down here and you want to tell a story, then they're going to let you, because you're out there doing what what they really want is to get their history told the correct way.
Let me tell you something, guys. I'll be perfectly honest with you. One of the things that has been my goal throughout this whole adventure I'm on is to, part of what I want to do is give the natives a voice, because, if for no other reason, they know who was here. I mean, I'm telling you flat out, and you guys, natives know this. They know these people, these cultures came here, and I've heard some amazing stories. The uphill battle I fight, but I think we're starting to break through that, is that one of the things I've heard in television is that native Indian stuff doesn't get good ratings. And I said, well, if you sit there and you put on that garbage that you've been putting on for the last 50 years, who wants to watch that crap?
Exactly.
But if you told the real story about the natives and what they really know and what they really do, it'd be the best television you could have.
They tell Alan, Alan, one of the medicine men from one of the tribes actually comes down to his house, and he's had them tell him that the truth about Bigfoot. And obviously, it's when it's coming from the Native Americans and telling you about a certain subject that we are trying to figure out, you're going to have to take that as for real.
Well, let's put it this way, guys. You will hear me say more than once this season, when I talk about oral traditions, both with certain Native tribes that you will see. I say to people, look, they're in the oral traditions and the oral stories of the natives, I said at least some of it, if not a lot of it, is based on truth. I say that. You'll hear me say that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I believe that. And I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I can't wait for the new season. I mean, seriously, it's you have an awesome show. I hope you continue 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. I know you're having a blast, and we're having a blast doing what we're doing. We're working on getting a national talk show here pretty soon ourselves. Believe it or not.
That'd be great, guys.
So
good luck on that. You definitely. I mean, I can just hear it in your voices that you're passionate about what you do. You're having fun, and you figured out just like I figured out something a long time ago when my dad died that it's not the destination, it's the journey. And every day, you have something amazing you can do, and just enjoy it while you do it, and have passion and fun. And sometimes you're going to hit on something big. And good luck to you guys. You're doing a good job.
Awesome. Well, hey, Scott, back at you. I appreciate you coming on tonight. We're going to let you go. It's perfectly 90 minutes. Wow, we couldn't have planned that, right?
That's okay.
That's awesome.
We're having a good time.
Awesome. All right, Scott, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to tune in on Saturday just like everybody else watching, and I hope we get to talk to you soon again, okay?
All right, guys.
Hey, good
thanks
night,
for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Have a good night, bud.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Yep, bye.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
I love talking about the Indians anyways all the time. But
I mean,
and I love, a lot of people don't even understand the Indian ways or anything like that.
Right.
And he nailed it. And that's the problem when they go to, like, they want something or go check out, like where we went for the Sasquatch. You know how many people try to go there?
right. And you couldn't.
And they don't even get like past what we would call the painted rock. They don't even get past that.
Right.
In fact, they don't even see that unless it's on the internet with the pictures.
Right.
And then you're over there like going snap.
Yeah, and here, in matter of fact, there was a guy who wrote a book and had those pictures in it, and he, he posted it, and then I said, oh, well, we went there. I went there, and he didn't believe me, so I posted some pictures, and he's like, oh, I guess you did. We have connections.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Scott has some good ones too.
I can't wait. Oh God, yeah.
In fact, I have a lot of connections back there also. That, I mean, I chased down the chief when we were there over medical stuff. And I ran into, everybody was like afraid to talk to him, and it was like, why are you afraid? And these are tribal members, and they're all afraid of him. It's like, no. And I ran outside, and I grabbed him and brought him in, got his cell number and everything, passed it around to everybody. He was kind of tripping on that. But, hey, they had a problem, and he's the chief, and he's the guy that, could take care of it. And he actually manned up and said he was, and then we took care of the problem, and it was cool.
Cool deal.
So I have a lot of connections back there, too.
Absolutely.
In Oklahoma. Awesome. Not so much farther back like South Carolina or North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. But Oklahoma, that's cool. Well, yeah. I enjoyed Scott. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, obviously there's so much more we could have talked about, but there's only so much we can get into in 90 minutes, and that was cool enough. I mean, it was perfect timing. I mean, I basically laid out everything I wanted to talk about. Almost forgot about the Native American man. Like, oh, we got to talk about that. So, yeah, I mean, for all those people who haven't seen America Unearthed, and you guys better get your asses in gear and tune in next Saturday, because I have a feeling the next 13 episodes are going to be off the hook.
And it sounds like his books are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go get some.
I am too. Because
especially the new one.
Yes. What you guys have been taught is not the truth. It's as simple as that. And there's no much more I can say about it. The history books are wrong, are completely wrong on some aspects of Columbus, and he wasn't the first one that was here. There's a lot more going on here in America than you guys don't even know. And this is including the paranormal that we talk about here all the time. And Scott is open-minded, and that's awesome, but he's a science guy. And obviously he has to see the evidence before he can make a judgment, and that's just how scientists work. So it is up to people like us who are investigating this type of stuff to bring him and say, hey, look what we have here, debunk it. And what can he say? If we brought him a body, or brought him, again, the DNA of a Sasquatch, which is, right now it's all over the world. They're talking about the DNA of the Sasquatch, and people are not going to believe when this DNA comes back that it is whatever it says it is. People are still not going to believe it. But it's like, how can you not believe what he just said is science? That science is proving exactly what this thing is. Just like Scott, proved that the stone was 1300s, but yet the archaeology people are refusing that. It boggled my mind that it just pisses me off. And you guys know that, and I've said that many a time, that it ticks me off that we're bringing you guys the real stuff, photographs, videos, and there it is, but yet people say no, it can't be real. You only see that in movies, you only see that in cartoons. Well, you know what? All right, well, I think I'm done here. I pretty much I can go to sleep happy tonight. Thanks, Scott, if you're still listening. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. We're gonna order some pizza and popcorn and kick it on the couch, and we're gonna watch Saturday night big time. I can't wait.
Walking Dead, I hear, 25 minutes. Walking Dead.
What, tonight? No, I'm talking about next Saturday. I'm talking about the first episode of America Unearthed. Next Saturday.
That's a given.
That's a given. Oh, yeah.
I never missed it.
I know.
I was watching last night. They had it on History 2.
Right.
And I was watching, and I forgot to ask him. I was going to ask him about where he was, and they had a line that went over to the hole that they called it the money pit. And
we didn't even talk about the money pit and the Holy Grail.
One of those things, yeah. And the
John Wayne,
it was lined up all the way from the United States and made a line all the way to the money pit, right? Like intersection.
Stuff like that is not a coincidence.
No.
All right. I mean, the American Stonehenge, where the kid got on his computer and was screwing around, and from one of the pylons at American Stonehenge, he decided to draw a line, and it went through one of the. It hit the Stonehenge overseas. I mean, it's what? Even freaking Scott was going, are you kidding me? And then it ended up in Beirut. It's like, what? So, this stuff is... It's not a coincidence, man.
One thing we need to talk about, we have some more cool guests coming.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
And
we
I'll
have
let Jeffrey tell you guys. You won't
okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I just got word this morning. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just going to say we have some killer news. I got a phone call. No, I got a text this morning about us stepping up in the radio world. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's going to be really.
So we're talking. If it happens,
man.
Millions of listeners are going to be listening to us and watching us, actually. Does that ring a bell to anybody? 1 million watching?
Does it ring a bell?
That's it. Does it ring a bell? Oh, God, that's funny.
Yeah, Billy, that's all I'm going to say.
That's all I'm going to say. Stop right there.
Okay, now on to the guest.
On to the guest. Why don't you hand me that down there? The poster board right there. On December the 8th. Now, obviously, next weekend is is
the envelope, please.
Yeah, the next weekend is Thanksgiving weekend. We're still going to have a show on Sunday, guys. Okay, we're just going to talk about stuff. Hopefully some things will happen this week, and we'll talk about some stuff. And hopefully that what happened today, I can tell you more about it that Sunday. But the following Sunday, Bigfoot, buddy, monsters. Okay, we are going to have from, I believe he's from Texas. You guys remember that very cool Bigfoot, the Legend of Boggy Creek? All right, and raise your hand. Let's go. The Legend of Boggy Creek. That scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I couldn't sleep, but I had to have the lights on. I mean, the roars in that freaking movie was awesome. I mean, awesome. Well, anyways, we're having the guy Lyle Blackburn, who is probably the one guy who knows all about that monster and the movie. He's coming on, and he sent me some stuff, and we're going to give away a bunch of books and some posters, some autograph, The Beast of Boggy Creek, autographed by Lyle. See that? I got a couple of posters, and I got, he actually just finished writing a book called The Lizard Man. I got 2 books to give away there. I also have a couple of CDs of the actual movie autographed by Lyle we're going to be giving away, and he just sent me some Boggy Creek books autographed. We're going to be giving away 2 of those too. So, man, we got some stuff to give away in 2 weeks from the Legend of Boggy Creek. We're going to have them on the phone, and we're going to talk Boggy Creek monster, guys. All right? That's going to be fun.
And Lyle, he's really cool.
Yeah, he's really cool.
I mean, we're getting some cool guests, and there's even some a little further out that's still cool, man. I'm really cool.
You know, we're having a blast, just like Scott is, dude. I mean, we're having a freaking blast doing what we're doing. The good thing about Scott is he's getting paid and we're not. But hopefully that's going to change, because if we're on our way. I mean, like I said, things are happening here, and I can't wait. Like I said,
they say, you just keep doing what you're doing and have fun, and it's got to be from your passion.
And that's what we're doing. You know, to this day, you know, we're doing it because we're having fun, man. Yeah. We're having a blast doing this, and
you should see how serious we get when we get out in the field. I mean, Danny or Darkman, he knows, and Rick and all those guys, they know. We get out there, we really go for it.
Yes.
We're over here having a little bit of fun, but we get really serious.
We're getting dirty. We're out there freezing rain, and the tent's getting all wet, and we're getting all wet, and you know, I'm climbing trees, putting them cameras. We're walking out, getting dirty, falling down the side of a cliff. Why? Because we want to get you the evidence that's going to prove what we are looking for exists. And that's the only way you're going to do it, if you get your ass out there in the mountains instead of being behind a microphone and on the computer and trying to tell us that, you know what, you guys are wrong. Well, you know what?
You know what I hate is when they say, "Oh, you guys are hoaxing."
Oh, and also to the hoaxing thing, okay? For example, the windows of my truck, you guys all know the story. Well, December's right around the corner, okay? You got to remember that the Destination America channel was down here 2.5 months ago, and they did a episode on the windows of my truck. That's going to be coming out next month, so we're talking right around the corner. And they did a whole episode. They're going to show you all the evidence, the facts, recreations. Oh my God, it's going to be awesome. It's going to put us it's going to step us up another step on the ladder, because you know, a lot of people were saying, well, what happened with the windows of my truck was a hoax. Well, you know what? I don't want to do it, but no. It happened, and you want to know why it happened? It's because we were out there, 6,000 feet elevation, freezing our ass off, stuck in the snow.
Yeah.
And when we least expect it, we thought it was going to be a bummed weekend, nothing. And then, you know what? It turned out to be a different story, just like Scott said. It happened that we got the best freaking evidence of a Bigfoot than we could ever get.
Man, I woke up that night. Half soaked. The tent was leaking. And from the waist down, I was soaked. And we got up in the morning. The car wouldn't move. Then it took us like 2 hours of going an inch at a time in a 4-wheel drive truck that didn't want to get out of there.
That was the weekend I'll never forget.
But we thought it was the worst weekend. It was the weekend from hell. Yeah. Yeah, it was, man. It really was. It was the worst.
But
and then when we came back, it was like,
God.
It was the evidence from heaven. It was
Oh
like,
my
whoa.
God.
Yeah, logs in the roads and smears on the windows.
Lips 8 inches big on the window. Debunk that, Scott.
Yeah, Brando, he's talking about. I was at my house and I had actually the picture on. It's something you guys could do.
What's that?
You put the window picture on your computer screen, and then you turn it to an angle, and it makes it look like an X-ray, and the whole thing jumps out at you.
Oh. Gotta try that.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool. Maybe we'll try that one day and do it for the cameras.
Okay.
We'll figure out how to do it just right.
After the episode, so in December, so
yeah. When we gotta have some like cool guests.
So all right, guys. It's for all those who are.
And David burned his hand. Oh yeah. It was a bummer that weekend.
It was crazy that weekend, but.
And here they go. What does the fox say?
Oh God, the fox say. I'm gonna tell you right now did my wife put that on there, or the Rick?
No.
Or was it Lewis?
Oh, I don't know.
From Australia.
I have no. It was all of them. Ding a ding a ding.
Shut up with that. Oh yeah, I hate that song, and I hold my wife responsible for that.
That's funny.
So. There's a lot of people who aren't working next week, like my wife, who's a school teacher, who's now on break, and she's loving every minute, and my kids are out there probably playing Xbox. But all right, well, you know what? We're almost been 2 hours.
What does the Squatch say?
There you go. I can have the Squatch.
I have no idea.
Actually, I have the roars.
Get the hell off my mountain. No.
I have the roars somewhere. So, all right, you guys. I think we're gonna call it a night. If you're not friends on Facebook, be friends on my Facebook wall. Jeffrey Gonzalez, Sanger Paranormal Society. I have 2 walls. One's the Sanger Paranormal. The other one's my personal. I'm at like 44,200 friends. So pretty soon I got a feeling I'm going to top it at 5,000. I can't get any more on there. So you guys really need to friend me because you guys are missing on so much. And that's, I mean, when there's a...
You could actually go and hear what the Squatch says.
Will you stop it already with that?
Yeah.
All right. For Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in tonight because, as you can see, we're having a blast doing what we're doing, and we're going to keep doing it. Money or no money, because we're having a blast, all right? I mean, it's simple as that. So, all right, I will catch you guys next Sunday. I hope you guys tune in. And remember, next Saturday is the Season 2 opener of America Unearthed. Damn straight, I'm going to be on the front couch sitting there waiting for that show to happen. I don't know. I should have told him which one is it going to be. I should have told him what episode, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to watch them all. So.
It's going to be the very first one. I'm going to watch this season.
So, all right, you guys. Jeffrey Gonzalez saying goodnight with my co-host Alan Thomas. Eyes to the skies, and remember, I hope you witness something that you cannot explain. Good night, guys.